Buford Pusser. I mean, an unfortunate name, but a legend, not round your neck of the woods, but sort of in Southern American states, a legend of the 60s and 70s, films made about him, books, TV shows, the whole bit.
In Tennessee, I used to go through those towns at least once a week. What county was he from? Does it say?
It says the Mississippi-Tennessee border is where he was operating, so around that area.
Around Selmer, Tennessee, right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, for people who don't know, and the reason why we're mentioning this is that Buford Pusser, once again, the most famous thing made about him is Walking Tall, the original starring whoever that, where was his name? Joe Don Baker, and then the remake 2004, of course, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, what was he famous for, Dutch, in the area back in the 60s?
Well, he was a wrestler at one point, and then he became the sheriff of the town. And I guess back in those days, in place of the drug dealers, they had moonshiners, guys who would make and sell and produce and distribute moonshine whiskey. And all that really meant was, they didn't get a license to make moonshine whiskey, and they sold it and didn't pay taxes. I mean, nobody was like drugs. Nobody was dying from drinking moonshine whiskey. They have, but that wasn't the problem then. And when he became sheriff, he declared war on these moonshiners, and that's what caused his death.
Yeah, there are definitely conspiracy theories about his death in 1974. We'll get into them in a moment. Yeah, but he sounds like a right killjoy, does Buford Pusser.
Oh, yeah. Well,
how can we be such a legend, then?
I don't know, really. I really don't know. I've actually thought about that. What the hell makes him a legend? He was just, I don't know if he made any money from these moonshiners or what, but a little southern sheriff down in a small county down south. I mean, who's going to really spy on him if he makes a little extra money from these moonshiners? But he wouldn't play ball, apparently. And since he wouldn't play with them, they made his life really, really hard for him. He actually lost his wife, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. And then, how old was he when he died?
I don't think he was that old at all. I think he's one of those people who looks a lot older than he was. 36. My God, I thought he was going to be in his 50s, yeah.
He died at 36?
Yeah. So he was born in Finger, Tennessee.
60.
No, born in Finger, Tennessee, died in Adamsville, Tennessee, if you know where they are.
Yeah, I know where they are, yeah. I've been through them. I've actually wrestled in them.
So the story goes is that he waged a one-man war basically against all these ne'er-do-wells and whatnot, and he tried to make his life hell, essentially. Bill Watts ended up sort of, I guess, emulating Buford Pusser at one point, and then the 2x4 that Jim Duggan carried with him was an homage or a rip-off, whatever you want to call it, to Buford Pusser. And, if people watch the original or the remake of Walking Tall, he doesn't use guns.
Catch me up on this. He carried a 2x4 with him?
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
Did he have a gun?
According to the films, no, he didn't like firearms. He just beat people up with a wooden stick.
Okay, continue with this story.
Okay, we're going to get to what he's like in a wrestler in a set. In fact, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get to the main crux of why we're talking about this here. Is that it was a cold case for decades, quite frankly. The murder of his wife. Now, law enforcement at the time took Buford Pusser at his word that his wife had been killed by pretty much like a drive-by, I guess. They'd some ne'er-do-wells, some criminals in the area drove up, shot through the car, killed his wife, and then injured him with shotgun pellets or whatever it might be.
What year was this?
In the late 60s.
Wow.
So, this is from ABC. Law enforcement uncovered physical, medical, forensic, ballistic, and reenactment evidence that contradicted McNairy County Sheriff Pusser's account of his wife's 1967 murder. This case, quote, is not about tearing down a legend, it's about giving dignity and closure to Buford's wife, Pauline, and her family, and ensuring that the truth is not buried with time. The sheriff had reported that his wife volunteered to ride along with him in the dark early morning hours on a disturbance call. He claimed that a car pulled alongside his and fired several shots toward them, killing Pauline and injuring him in what he claimed was an ambush intended for him, carried out by unknown assailants, according to a fellow called Davidson, who's one of the investigators. Investigators now believe that Pauline Pusser was shot outside the vehicle, then placed inside the vehicle, which is not what Buford Pusser has told investigators at the time of the murder. Quote, "This was a cold case for decades, but in 2022, TBI agents took another look at the archive file and coordinated with our office. The work accelerated in 2023, and in 2024, Pauline Mullins Pusser was exhumed for an autopsy." So basically, they're now theorising that Buford Pusser killed his wife, which sort of puts a different slant on... yeah.
We both read enough crime stories and seen enough crime stories on TV. If he shot her, allegedly a car drove up beside him and shot into the car. They couldn't tell that back then.
Well, apparently they didn't
look.
If
he shot her outside the car, it would be at a different angle, and it would just be totally different. And then, where did he get shot?
Well, okay, there's a running theory that he obviously... You know, they're saying he lied, and that he got shot either by ricocheting of a bullet himself, or he tried to do himself in and then flinched and didn't do it, essentially, and then carried on. But now the running theory is that Buford killed his wife and then framed unknown assailants. But, you know, there's all these photos of the crime scene, and everyone's gone back and looked at it and just thought, this dude's lying.
Okay, let's look at a motive here. Why would he kill his wife?
So, people at the time were saying that he was a fairly abusive husband and was not treating his wife very nicely at all. So that's sort of anecdotal evidence that it wasn't the happiest marriage.
Well, other than that, that could apply to millions of men around the world, more billions. But what is it? What was he going to get out of this by having her dead?
Quiet household? I don't know.
Did he make any money on it?
That I don't know. What, you mean if she was insured or something? No idea.
Yeah, insured. Or that doesn't really make sense. Okay, so shooting her outside the car, I have my doubts about. Why did he do it? I have my doubts about. And I'm not agreeing with this story.
Yeah. Well, so investigators basically look at blood spatter analysis and direction of bullet holes and whatnot, and basically said there's not a chance that Buford's version of events happened the way he claimed at the time. Now, that doesn't prove that he killed his wife, but it sure makes it suspicious as to why he would make up, like, who would have shot his wife, or, you know, the trajectory, essentially, and then moving the body afterwards.
That's an odd story. Now, the only other way to fix this story is he paid somebody to do it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but they didn't bring that up. So,
but then why would they have put his wife's body in the car then?
To make her, I don't know, make her look like she was shot in the car. Probably easier to do it that way. I don't know. They don't know either, I might add.
You were saying afterwards that the reason why we're bringing this up on a wrestling show is because he used to wrestle in his early days, I guess, as Buford the Bull in the Mid-South area. So
Buford the what?
Buford the Bull.
Oh, okay. The Bull.
And you said he was a terrible wrestler.
Well, I've never met the man, never. What year did he die?
74, man. You were in the business
okay,
like
74.
3 years.
Well, I wasn't around in 74, or that I was around, but I wasn't in that area. So, but I've heard from some of the guys back when I started, they remembered him, and they said he was just awful. that he was worse than awful. So he wasn't very good. And I don't think he's very good at damn framing murder scenes either.
Well, he may well not be. We'll see. I mean, maybe there might be more investigating to be done and, anything more concrete, but that's where we are at that point. I thought I'd bring it up because I figured that was kind of the thing that you'd be interested in, if nothing else.
Well, other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played his part in a movie, which I saw the movie. I think he kind of, it was a so-so movie. I'm not advising anyone to go out and try to find it and watch it because it wasn't that good.
Right. I didn't mind it. But I like Welcome to the Jungle, which I think was called The Rundown or something in the States. For some reason, they changed the name. That was the year before when The Rock started with Sean William Scott.
Okay, how many people do you think that listen to us on this podcast really know who Buford Pusser is or was?
You mean like beyond the films?
Yeah.
Internationally, very few.
Yeah.
I mean, were you hearing about this guy's name before the Walking Tall movie, the original one?
No, I never did.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think, and I was down south, not that far away, and never heard his name.